Now I detect a bit of an accent, but I can't place it.
I've
Um,
lived in many, many places. I lived in Bahrain for a little bit. I lived in Japan for a little bit.
were you a child? Where did you grow up?
Mostly here. I mostly went to school here. Yeah.
In the Pacific
United.
Northwest,
No, no, no. I was on the East Coast.
East Coast.
Mhm.
Now let's talk about you for a minute, because you have an interesting background. Being a veteran, talk a little bit about what led you into the Navy, and did you work for intelligence in the
No,
Navy?
I did not ever work for intelligence. That's a very common misconception.
Is it okay?
Yeah,
Bring
everybody
it out.
says,
Why are people thinking that you worked for
well,
intelligence?
because I think that they thought, okay, so I went into the Navy to pay my student loans. It's nothing about patriotism or loving America or wanting to go fight people. It was to pay my student loans and to get healthcare, which is why the majority of people join the armed forces, to be frank. I served for 13 years. Um, it became a guilt-ridden evolution probably in 2016 when I started to when you gain rank in the military, you get to start to see how the sausage is made, what they spend money on, what they do with the money, and you're just like, I can't even believe the conflicts that they deliberately provoke, stuff like that. And you're just, if you're a human, if you have any ounce of humanity and you serve that long, there something inside you has to say like, we're this is wrong. 100%, especially now in these modern times, we're not in a conflict needing posture. You become to the realization that we are just a military economy and that we need wars and conflicts to continue to keep our economy going. And that's really sickening. I became very disenchanted around 2016, 2017, started toying with the idea of getting out. Around COVID, things started to take a really dark turn in my personal life and my professional life. The Navy sort of abandoned me in a way. Um, when asking for help, they were kind of like, you need to do it on your own. You need to buck up, kind of thing. And I was lucky enough to get to retire.
So you retired, but you were
Yeah.
going through dark times. So did something happen, or
Well, COVID happened, and then my marriage fell apart for reasons, and that was kind of all going on, and my mental health was in the trash, and instead of helping me, they deployed me, which doesn't really help. So
what were
I
you doing?
eventually finally said, I went and I got my PTSD diagnosis, which I didn't even know that I had. And when you have PTSD, you automatically go under review for continuing service. And I asked pretty much, I was like, I think I'm done here.
Mhm.
I don't think I can do it anymore. And I was retired for PTSD and physical injuries that I sustained while I was in the military. So yeah.
I'm sorry. So that must have been tough. That must have been tough. So you're on the road to recovery. So you retire, you get yourself kind of on this road to recovery. And then how did you put together what you're doing now? Like, how did that happen? And
Um, I
why
started.
is the
Oh, sorry.
mythology around you about it?
So yeah, that's myth. There is a very large myth. There's many myths. One is that I'm SBU. I'm also FSB. I've served in Wagner at one point, and I'm also CIA, FBI. So I'm all of those things in one.
What happened? Why do people think that? And
Um,
take us through that.
because the DD Geopolitics started off at the start of the SMO. We became together organically as a team. I'm the only one in the United States. Everybody else lives in Europe or Russia, South America, and Africa. Oh, and Australia. We have them on every continent. But
Okay.
we went through the whole war. The reason why I did not want to reveal my identity is for obvious reasons. The danger of it, which we now know is very real. And I was in the Navy at the time, so I didn't really know how that would work. Um, so after I retired, I just kind of continued on out of my own safety and the safety of my family to be anonymous. In April of this year, a random person on the internet gave one of my admin the infamous NATO documents, who then posted them on the Telegram channel.
And now
Uh,
let's take the audience members that might not know. Okay, the person that exposed those documents was imprisoned. And what's his name?
Tehera, but I can't, maybe his first name is Alex, I believe. I don't know this person. I think that people thought she was in the military, he was in the military. They must have gone to, like, done this together kind of thing. And I'm like, I don't know him. He's in the Air Force. I served in the Navy and I'm not in the Navy anymore. He was an intelligence officer with a top secret clearance.
Okay, but how did a top secret intelligence officer get you documents, and how did that happen?
They never came to me. An anonymous, we get anonymous tips a lot on our Telegram channel, especially. Somebody came into the chat and said, I have these documents from NATO. Would you like to see them? One of our more inexperienced admins said, sure. Looked at them and then posted them with a caption that was like, I don't know if these are real or not. These were just sent to me, blah, 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 blah. And it just exploded. It went insane. I had the FBI at my door. And to this day, I've never even read the documents because I never wanted to really be involved. But I've had the FBI at my door. I lost my job, which was a very good job. I lost custody of my daughter. They
Up there. Why would you lose custody of your daughter?
Because the media reported that I had changed my name, which I have not. My name is still Sarah. They then said that I was armed and dangerous, which I am not. I don't have any guns in my home. They inferred that I was going to kidnap my daughter and run away to Russia, which is, as you know, pretty impossible. So my ex, and understandably so, freaked out. And I mean, I get it because he's seeing all these media reports, and I went dark when it all happened because I couldn't deal with it mentally. And so, we had to revise our parenting plan. And I mean, we can go back and revise it again, but yeah, I definitely temporarily lost custody.
Your daughter is now?
How old? I'm sorry?
How old is your daughter now?
11. She's 11.
That's hard. That's really tough. So you have your daughter's custody back though, right?
Soon. Yeah, soon. Yeah. And the FBI stopped harassing me in July. So that's the last time I heard.
Were they coming to your house? Were they going through your things?
They came to my house a few times. Yes. They first, when they realized that I had nothing to do with the documents, they started to want to go through my bank accounts. Who have you given money to? How have you gotten money? But I haven't given money to any entity that was sanctioned or marked as a terrorist entity or anything like that. I showed them all of our receipts for our charity work. I showed them my bank account. They've looked at my crypto accounts, everything. And I think that a couple people have said to me, if you're not in jail, you must be working for them. But I was like, I don't know how to tell you that the easiest answer is the answer. I'm not in prison because I didn't do anything wrong. Like, I've just been reporting on the news. So there's a humongous mythology about me because of that. It's like, if you didn't go to prison, then you must have flipped. And it's just,
how do you deal with that day to day? How do you deal with that mythology?
I mean, it sucks because it's used to discredit you. But I just,
I went through the same thing, but I mean, not that, but like, the FBI was very interested in me for a long time.
No, you don't say.
And then John Kirby did a press conference about me twice. So yeah, telling me how safe it was for me to go home. So,
oh my God. See,
yeah, my lawyer called me and said it's not safe for me to go home. And I'm like,
yeah, everything they say, please do the opposite. And we all know that here. We all know.
Yeah. So, but what I would say about that is that, yeah. So the FBI, I know when I was hassled, it was more, well, I had to meet with them in person at one point, and my lawyer was on the line, but then they didn't do a raid though, like they have done with other people. So I think that they use different tactics. So do you feel like they took the heat off of you because they discovered that these, documents were obviously not, you were just sort of publishing them, sort of like Julian Assange did when he published documents, but that you were just the publisher, but you had no idea. Do you think that's what happened? What do you think got the heat off you?
I was also very honest with them. I mean, Scott Ritter, I take a lot of advice from Scott Ritter because he's also a vet and kind of also stuck here. And he was like, always said throughout the whole thing, as long as you don't do anything illegal, then what are they going to do to you? And so when they did come to my house, I was just honest. And I was like, this is what it is. I showed them everything. And they were like, oh, okay. And that was pretty much.
That didn't work for me, Sarah. Like
No.
I was really honest, and they still wanted to put me in prison. So
Well, they asked me, they asked me for a lot of information that I really didn't have. Like they were like, could you get us in touch with the GRU? And I'm like, I don't know anybody in the GRU. Like they really think that we're in this like network of spies and like FSB agents. And I'm like, I don't know them. And they're like, when was the last time you talked to someone in the Russian military? I was like, I don't talk to the Russian military regularly. Like it's silly. They even had their own mythology, like their own idea of what this was, that making it much bigger than it is. I think everybody.
Oh, yes, I understand. I mean, I get those calls all the time because I'm in Moscow. People are saying, how many times has the FSB approached you? And I said, 0.
Yeah.
He said, but you got asylum. And I'm like, I went through a process of asylum and a bunch of paperwork in a boring administrative office, but there was no FSB. Like that happens behind the scenes. You never meet them. You never talk to them unless you've done something wrong, I would assume. Right. But like, I never have had anyone approach me. It's so interesting how they do have this mythology in the US intelligence community about what goes on. Right.
It's just that they're even propagandized. Like they really think that they're like these evil Russians that like even to this day, it's like they're Russian funded. We are not Russian funded. We're not paid by anybody besides our monetization. We're not forced to do it by anybody. I think that's part of the thing that also is a Western thing. They don't understand doing the right thing for the sake of doing the right thing. So you must be getting paid, because they would never do it if they weren't getting paid.
Right. No, so you're in a safe place on the West Coast, and you are very moving forward with your life now. So now, how did explain to me this, okay? Because this is one of the mythologies around this thing. There was like one Donbass, or I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, Donbass Devushka, yeah.
You were posing as someone else. So explain that. Why did you lie about it? What happened? Like,
well, this is honestly, I really didn't lie. It was something that people kind of gap filled. I never revealed my location ever. They lied and she said she was in Donbass. Why would I say I was in Donbass if I was nowhere near it, if I couldn't produce any raw footage or if I couldn't produce anything? So that was something that they gap filled. A lot of the stuff that like was just made up. The reason why I started to get to disguise my voice and stuff was because I was starting to be doxxed around August of last year. So that's when I started to try to assume some other identity that would kind of throw them off my scent in a way.
And
so
when you discovered that was a bad idea?
When I was doxxed, yeah. By then it was like, okay, now I don't have to be someone else. But at that point it was almost a relief because it was like, now I can just be me and not worry about people trying to figure out who I am, if that makes sense.
So when you say you were doxxed, the NAFO trolls, and I assume that the Ukrainian NAFO trolls, we call them NAFO, NAFO, for those listeners who may not know who they are. They tend to go after pro-Russian accounts and try to dox and whatever, and threaten. Like in my case, I've been called every name under the book, and also I've been put on the Ukrainian kill list.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah. Yeah. Welcome to the club, right? So my question to you is, being doxxed is dangerous sometimes. I mean, for me, I got death threats like when I was doxxed.
100%.
And then New York Times doxxed me. They printed my social security number on the website and then took it down, but like it was there.
Yeah.
For a while, 2 hours. That's really bad, just so you know. And yeah. Bad. And that's caused a lot of problems in my life. But I want to say, being doxxed is not fun. I had people trying to come to my house, trying to take my pets, trying to hurt my daughter. like, it's been very hard. How have you dealt with that doxing?
It was one of the hardest things I've ever been through in my life. The death threats were bad. I had deep fake pornography made of me. I had there were accounts made in the name of my daughter. My car was stolen. Street screens were ripped off my home. And then people ask you, why did you lie about who you were? Do you see now why? Do you see now why people would lie about who they are, try to make an effort to remain anonymous? My daughter's address was doxxed. Thankfully they've moved since then, but like just very sick things. I'm probably not as bad as you experienced, but and once I became like a very good clickbait item, they don't stop. They do something, they do an article about me about once a week or once every 2 weeks now.